we've got MarineLorD versus VortiX. Who do you think is going to win? Let's see it in the chat. I know one of our lovely moderators will throw up a channel prediction for you. Man, oh man, MarineLorD versus VortiX. I don't know who's going to win. And there's the map. You wanted Lidakor. We got coastal cliffs. Oh no, you want bridges. That's the one.
I wanted bridges.
It's there too. He's got it. MarineLorD's got it drafted. So we get 2 new maps here, possibly, or Holy Island. There's a lot of water going to be here.
Oh yeah, I was just looking at it myself. Like, hey, you look at these maps, and every one of them. Well, Coastal Cliffs isn't the hybrid map. It looks like that, but it's just basically Dry Arabia with a slightly smaller playing field. Having said that, the rest of the maps, they are definitely on the more hybrid side, so it's gonna be a fun one to take a look at. MarineLorD, convincingly leading Group A, has only dropped a single game. That was against CSO so far. Whereas for VortiX, he's sitting at 5-1, which is actually crazy to think that he is occupying the last qualifying spot in Group A for the playoffs. That is how fierce the competition is. Louis MT is 6-1, Puppy Paw is 6-1. So for VortiX, I mean, a loss here is going to make his life a lot more difficult. Luckily for him, it's not like many players are trailing him. In fact, if we take a look at Group A standings right now, you can actually see a very significant splitting, I guess, in the middle of the group. So VortiX, even with a loss, he's going to be in a playoff spot. But this is going to come down to him being able to potentially secure a more advanced position in the playoff bracket. As you see, VortiX here sitting at a 5-1. The second, or the best player when it comes to the standings that could contest his spot is actually Magic right now with 3-4.
So the question will be, can VortiX ruin MarineLorD's perfect record so far? I'm sure MarineLorD's looking to have the bragging rights today of another destruction of the group stage, but he has to get through VortiX first, and we'll see. This is a man with a plan. Going to be looking to try to get a win off of MarineLorD. MarineLorD's he's got all the pressure. It's the hardest when you're at the top with the perfect record, right? That's the hardest spot to be in. Now, you talk about having hybrid maps. If we look at our series coming up here momentarily, this first one that we've got coming up is technically not a hybrid map. Coastal Cliffs, it looks like there's water, but the way it works is there's a big cliff on the side and you can't get to that water. So it's basically just made the map smaller. I personally haven't seen this map yet, so I'm really excited to get to cast and explore a brand new map here today. And then we've got Bridges as one of MarineLorD's home map, as well as Holy Island. Now, both of those. Is there water on Bridges? I have not seen Bridges yet.
Well, just look at the icon here.
I'm sorry.
And usually you don't build bridges on land, right?
I meant to say fish. Are there fish?
Yeah, I think we're just going to have to take a look at that once we get in there. But there is one more thing that we need to highlight before we head into game number 1. A lot of the civilizations that we haven't really seen very frequently in the tournament could make an appearance here. Jushi's Legacy available for MarineLorD. Ottomans available for MarineLorD. So VortiX definitely had an interesting approach to the civilization bans over here, opting to take away English, for instance, which is known to be a really good civilization on Coastal Cliffs. But VortiX going for this slightly off-meta set of bans. Let's see how that works out for him as we'll be heading into game number 1 between VortiX and MarineLorD.
Here we go, folks. It's the moment you've been waiting for today. Undefeated MarineLorD is going to be facing off against VortiX in the Elite Classic 2 group stage. We are playing here today on Coastal Cliffs. You can't get to those fish down to the south. Maybe if you figure out a way to fly over that, you have to play the Egyptians and train a rock. You can actually fly over the mountains if you do one of those, but you're gonna have to wait for Age of Mythology Retold for that one. For this game today, we've got VortiX playing as the Mongols up against MarineLorD's Chinese.
Red versus blue over here. Right off the get-go, VortiX is aggressive with that one con, and he's actually very successful taking away the sheep from MarineLorD's side.
Yep, and we see we'll put Town Center right up against the wood. He's got berries nearby, but probably not going to eat those berries early on, but he could later if he wanted to. Yeah, that Uvu in the middle of the map seems absolutely wild. Maybe that was the first one he found. The other one was like far to the northeast. So I don't know exactly how this map usually works out, but neither of those are amazing spots for Uvus, I guess. But VortiX looks like maybe this is all part of the plan. He's building a barracks already. This is going to make his rush even faster. He's basically got a mid-map barracks. I mean, this is going to be a crazy rush going up against MarineLorD. If we look, his gold is, it looks like rather exposed. I don't think it's underneath the town center. Yeah, I think he could go out there and then shut that down. There's also deer up there, so a tower up on the north side could hit some deer, some gold, maybe some stone, and maybe even a wood line, depending on what he goes. And after that, he's only have what berries to the south. So that could be a very good spot for a tower rush should he go for one, which I think he might. And yeah, that's going to kind of set the stage here on a very closed-ish kind of map.
It is. It looks like standard dry Arabia when you look at the fundamentals of the map, the initial resource deposits, how the map usually spawns. But the smaller playing field allows you to play a lot more aggressively, and it provides a lot more value to aggressive players like VortiX does. And in the end, mining camp has to be cancelled over here for MarineLorD. Now, one thing that's important here is that MarineLorD doesn't have enough gold for Song Dynasty. Eventually, he can get it from taxing, but this tower and those two spears have already accomplished one thing, that is going to be slowing down MarineLorD's progress towards Song Dynasty.
Not to mention, he's building the Imperial Academy. It's a little hard to train Imperial officials if you don't have access to gold, so this is going to be a very challenging place, but I'm sure MarineLorD's ready to navigate it here. And as we mentioned, that tower is going to be blocking a lot of resources. On some maps, he's like, okay, tower's here, I'll just ignore it. I'll go over to the west and get resources. All of his food is basically north, other than the berries. So this is going to be a challenging position. He could go for that gold towards the middle of the map, perhaps. But VortiX is going to be looking to just starve his opponent really early on here.
VortiX now thinking about Feudal Age over here, so he's up to 5 spears. I would love to see a second tower from him, because as you see, MarineLorD is heading out towards the other gold mine, but VortiX is completely pulling the villagers, so he's done doing damage. He's just gonna be fine with this for the time being. I'm actually curious about the follow-up, though, because I do see a little blue dot right next to that sacred site. What even is that? Oh, that's the Ovu with the barracks.
Oh, yeah. I was like,
I get confused for a second, because normally that's not where you place your Ovu, right?
Yeah. So it is quite strange, but it seems to be working out so far for VortiX. Silver Tree coming in. Where is the trade on this map? He's got the Silver Tree. I don't even know wait, it's right there. Okay, I couldn't see it at first. I was like, wait, is there? Some maps don't have it. Okay, he's got trade. So he's gonna be trading towards the middle. Kind of got MarineLorD pinned down. Don't forget, not only can you not get Imperial officials, if you want to get Suikoden, those would cost gold as well, which he'll have taxes, which might get him by. In the long term, he's gonna need to take out that tower most likely, or secure this one in the middle, which we'll have to decide here very, very soon. We got multiple spearmen out for MarineLorD, or rather in queue. There you go. First one's out, and he's dropping in archery range. So he's gonna have to really make a move for that. The problem is, when you're on this spot, in this position of, okay, I'm trying to deal with the Mongol tower rush, I gotta make a reaction to it, I've gotta actually take it out or secure land. What's VortiX gonna be doing on the other side? He's gonna be booming with his trade. And if you're on the defensive, it's gonna be very hard for you to do much damage to that trade. Sometimes, I mean most of the times, the best reaction to a tower rush is just try to ignore it and try to go around it and just go hit your opponent. So we'll see how MarineLorD reacts here. He could just go the mid here, as you see, and try to stop his military production.
Yeah, and this is a nice timing here. I don't think VortiX was expecting this. That means that the range might be denied, and that kind of puts a dent into VortiX's plans. So far, everything has worked out perfectly for VortiX. You see Spearman doing its best to slow down this aggression. Looks like the range will finish just in time. It might actually cost a villager here for VortiX, which is not great. but at least the range does finish, so he can start double producing archers. Having said that, we talked about this in one of the previous sets. Trade can pay off a lot quicker than multi-TC builds from booming civilizations like the Chinese, but this is a fundamentally different map. I feel like MarineLorD is going to be more than happy playing 1TC here, although I do expect him to go up to Song Dynasty now that he has the gold he needs for that.
Yep, and MarineLorD getting right on top. You know, kind of what I mentioned is ignore the tower, go for the military or something, and that's what he's doing. And I think this is the best option he can have. Try to stop MarineLorD from, or VortiX from getting all this momentum, but VortiX been able to get double trained archers out and some of his military despite him sitting on top there. Looks like he might take an engagement. There we go, archers there. And there we go. We've got the speed arrow. So we've got archers firing away. Let's see what ends up happening. It's looking like MarineLorD's doing just fine cleaning this up.
Yeah, he is basically spawn camping this range. And that's why I was so puzzled about this Ovus, but not necessarily puzzled, but you look at it and you say, okay, this could be problematic, and now you see why. If VortiX loses momentum, the units that he spawns get insta-killed. Look at that. Archer comes out of the range, it's already at half HP. And now MarineLorD is more than happy with this. He's dropping the Barbican. In fact, I'm somewhat surprised that he isn't dropping the Barbican right over here. I think he could have done that.
Yeah, he's got that'll secure his gold that he needs. So this is momentum. Oh boy. And VortiX's little play here, not working out so great as far as these military units are concerned. And not to mention, if he loses his position, his Uvu's there, all his military protection's there, it'll be hard to bounce back. But MarineLorD building that Barbican, and looks like he might have carved off his position in this game, which is kind of the most challenging part of playing against the Mongols, is just surviving this early part.
And now he's going to be more than happy playing this game. Chinese, they just love to spam this combination of spearmen, archers, and Chukanu. And they do have the better economy of the two civilizations here. Mongols, of course, can double train the archers, which provides a great discount. But the fact that your stone is finite means that it is not sustainable in the long run. Whereas MarineLorD, he is more than sustainable as long as he has access to resources. I think that's the next big hurdle here for MarineLorD. He is desperate for food. He is exclusively on berries, and basically besides that one patch that he's taking right now, there is one that he can take only, and that's rather exposed. In fact, VortiX is now heading out to check what's up with that.
And we see right now, VortiX going to be starting his trade very slowly but surely. I'm sure MarineLorD will be taking a look at that market here very, very soon. And right now we do see a wall coming down from MarineLorD on the south side of his base, just trying to stop any raids from coming in.
At least VortiX stabilized his position. He now can continuously produce units without being spawn camped. But I think we went from a game where VortiX had a definitive advantage into something that's equal at best, especially when you consider that now VortiX is down by 5 villagers. So that eco lead of the Chinese, it's starting to build up.
Okay, there you see it. MarineLorD's got a lot of archers. There we go. Got a attack speed arrow coming out of the Mongols. Gonna try to hold this, but that's a lot of units for MarineLorD, and you see the numbers are just in his advantage. I mean, MarineLorD, this might be GG already. 10-minute game. I don't know how VortiX is gonna bounce back. All of his military is basically stalled out. This is the gamble. Really, this is the gamble of forward bases in Age of Empires 4. Because if you lose a single fight, use a single engagement, all of your reinforcements are just completely hosed. And this was a big change for me coming over from AoE 3, where you had batch training, and like a forward base like this, you can get out 5-10 units at a time. This doesn't work in AoE 4. At least you can roll out, but there it is. Under 11-minute game, MarineLorD cornered by a tower rush. It wasn't enough, and he's going to take the victory in game number 1 of this best of 3. VortiX not able to pull off the cheese.
VortiX usually plays very short games. It's either him completely annihilating his opponent with early game aggression, or it's simply not working out and his opponent is going to counterattack and pretty much win the game. MarineLorD showing why he is near undefeated in the tournament, having only dropped a single game so far. And now he's coming out guns blazing. For him, this is a big set because a win here pretty much guarantees that he is going to have that #1 spot within the group. And for VortiX, a loss here would mean that his position in the final qualification spot within Group A could still be challenged by someone like Dimu. Still, though, I think one of the things that we'll need to look at here, Fitz, is that these two, they are very likely to both make it into the playoffs. And we could easily see this set as, a foreshadowing, potentially, of a future playoff game.
Yeah, very potentially. Now, Coastal Cliffs, certainly not your standard map. That's very different from anything we see out on the ladder. So as far as like how much practice they get on that, I'm sure they do practice some sets, but it is very different from a head-to-head match because it just looks like MarineLorD dominated that game. It was just a very quick one and done. It was the strategy really there at the beginning, and just really quickly, MarineLorD was ready to go. He knew how to answer that. Now, as we look at the next game, we've got Holy Island. It's kind of a similar looking map as Coastal Cliffs, except you can actually get to the water and there's an island, and there'll be some fishing involved, most likely. We're looking at MarineLorD playing the Japanese for this, with VortiX playing the English. This is actually the first time we have seen the English today, and I think part of this being because we are going to be on a hybrid map, English can be pretty good at performing onto this one. So this will be a fun one, as this could be MarineLorD's a sweep of the series. If he wins this, VortiX looking to get some points on the board in the next game.
If MarineLorD wins this game, I am once again going to be deprived of bridges, which I will just consider a complete rigging of the tournament. Because at this point, that's actually the map that I was the most intrigued about. I'm not saying it's the best map of the tournament, but that's the one that got me hyped up a lot because it brings in some game mechanics that we didn't really have in previous tournaments. And I'm just so upset that I can't catch a single game of bridges that I'm casting. Having said that, we're first heading to Holy Islands. VortiX is going to have his English. On the other side, you do have an absolute juggernaut civilization hybrid maps, Japanese. But here, in particular, Shinobi play isn't going to work well because Longbows will be more than happy to face off against those Shinobi.
Well, we can maybe see if Wham can arrange a tree to fall on MarineLorD's internet mid-game here, and then maybe he can get to bridges. But I too want to see it. Yeah, Shinobi, as you've mentioned, very meaningful on these water maps. They can not only they're great at burning down and getting some early pressure, but the fact that they can stop the production on your docks makes you like basically have to have a second one. And MarineLorD having it, man, it makes me a little nervous for VortiX going in this. But let's do it. Game number 2 is underway on Holy Island.
MarineLorD with the Japanese, and on the other side, it is the English for VortiX. VortiX down 1-0 over here in this Group A group stage match. And to no one's surprise, VortiX is heading out towards the waters. He's going to drop his own dock. On the other side, I do see a little red dot moving out as well. So both players kicking off this game with a dock.
Yeah, now this is a little bit different from we saw in earlier series. I think it was the Demu series. I can't remember exactly, that he didn't go for the dock at all. He just went for age up as soon as possible, slap 7 villagers on that age up. So this is a different approach. Certainly going to go for a little more traditional dock opening, but doesn't mean we still might not see Shinobi get to the next age, but you never know. You never know, but I think that's what we'll see.
I think Shinobi is an option, but this is a fundamentally different game from the Golden Heights game we've seen. Here you will have a lot of naval combat, which is something that the Japanese will be fairly happy about. And you're also going to potentially face a bunch of longbows, which means that Shinobi might not work out well. So I'm actually thinking that Shinobi is an option, but you shouldn't be game planning around the use of Shinobi in this particular matchup. I think it's more like, if you can get some value for it, great, but you might not be able to get much in this matchup. So I'm actually wondering if MarineLorD is going to play just Kura Storehouse and eventually bank up those farms. Remember that Kura Storehouse gives you a passive trickle of wood once you cannot spawn more farms around it. So a smart placement could allow him to get a nice wood trickle in mid-late feudal. And if he gets pushed off from water, or if he needs an extra influx of food, he's going to have a bunch of farms available already.
Can we get a sheep check there? Did you see how many sheep we're going on there. MarineLorD has 19, 20 sheep right there. That's not told. That's not even the ones that count there. He's got 21 sheep right now. The 2 dead ones. Let's see how many VortiX has. 8 sheep plus 3. Now they got fish. They don't need sheep. These guys, they're all about eating the fish out of here. But yeah, that's just the early sheep count. That's how it's gonna work. So
It's ironic that it's the English that don't have the sheep, right?
man, look how far he has to go for his fish, his deep sea fish. They're really far away compared to what VortiX has down there. Those fish, you never know where the schools are gonna spawn. I guess this is how it worked out today. MarineLorD already building a second dock. Maybe he's just trying to get a little closer to those bad boys.
So here's the thing, and this is extremely important here. Water bay or water maps and hybrid maps are very momentum based. So having all that extra sheep is actually very valuable because it provides consistency, and you're never going to have this issue of, oh shoot, I'm out of food. I cannot potentially make villagers. I have to start adding farms. These kinds of things slow down your momentum and usually end up with you losing the water. So there's actually a lot of value in this early collection or early haul of sheep here from MarineLorD. It's going to be interesting to see how they will be put to use. But so far, of course, it's going to be a slightly delayed feudal age, kind of what you expect from hybrid maps where the players are docking. And both players will be very heavily committed towards fishing for this initial portion of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be more than certain that, you know, MarineLorD says this is no problem. I don't care how far the fish are. He's got the best fishermen in all of the Age of Empires, and you know, don't have any pity on this guy. He hasn't lost a single game. He can handle swimming a little further for some sheep. He's gonna be fine. So the sheep spawns. You never know what's gonna happen with the fish. But here we go. We get a little closer towards the second age. Council Hall coming down for the English. MarineLorD not aging up yet. Still gonna need more food, of course.
He is on double docks, though. That's a fundamental difference between the two players. VortiX went single dock. That's why he's a little quicker to feudal. Of course, the distance to cover between the actual deep fish and the docks is also a factor. But part of the reason why MarineLorD is like 30 seconds or so behind is because he did invest into a second dock. It also means that he has a bit of an eco lead here. He's up by 2.
Okay, so Council Hall come down really quickly. 7 villagers on that, and there's that Coca Township. 8 villagers on the Coca Township.
So he's going Coca here. I'm not against it, but again, I feel like there is a big difference between using Shinobi on this map compared to using it on a map like Golden Heights. I think he can find some reasonable value here when it comes to harassing the dock. But if you're VortiX, you probably have a couple of longbows protecting you just to be sure.
And here's the longbows right away. So longbows can be coming out. Very effective probably at dealing with Shinobi in general. If I aim that though straight at the dock, and he has 2 docks of his own, so he could start really producing some warships here. Let's see what he's going for. There we go, up to the next age. I would assume that Shinobi will go straight for the dock is what I expect to see.
Here's the thing. I think you might actually find better value in that Shinobi trying to hit the gold miners. Kind of sounds crazy, but you should not be able to take that dock out if VortiX is paying attention. But if you can hit those gold miners and slow down the gold income from your opponent, you can actually do a lot of damage to their actual naval production. There's the first Shinobi. Now this bad boy with the TP can actually close distance, and a single longbowman isn't going to be good enough. You need like 2 or 3 to deal with a single Shinobi.
Okay, that Shinobi is going to get no value, I guess. Like, Shinobi versus longbow is not a great matchup here.
I hate to be the guy, but yeah, kind of expected that.
Yeah, I don't know what that's going to do. Okay, out on the water, assuming we're going to have a little bit of a skirmish here soon. I don't think that's a fishing boat. Yeah, there you go. So it's going to be heating up soon. Longbows could really idle MarineLorD's gold if VortiX were to invest in a little bit of pressure here. So MarineLorD can't just like blindly put everything into water because longbows could roll up and cause some serious problems. As you already seen, one single longbow can sit there, and you can see being quite annoying. More are on the way.
MarineLorD is actually making some horsemen though, and that's gonna be fine. I don't think VortiX expected horsemen that quickly. He was actually trying to play around with shared line of sight, having vision on the villagers and then shooting them with the longbows from the other side. Spearmen are now coming out, but the initial horsemen will clean up some of those longbows. When you look at the eco though, it's still better for MarineLorD, and I feel like if he can take away that pressure from his land-based economy, he could flirt with the idea of Castle Age.
Lots of villagers on gold right now for VortiX. Let's see what ships he has. Okay, he's got 2 right there. Let's see on MarineLorD's side. 1, 2. So they're just kind of hanging out in their own territory, protecting their fishing economy. You can see VortiX's food economy just slightly ahead of MarineLorD right now. And it does look like MarineLorD's going to pull back to the other gold. So he was pretty far forward before and built a tower out there, and now he's fallen back to this. Maybe that's the distraction gold with the tower. I don't know.
Yeah, MarineLorD doubling down on Feudal Age here. He's getting a couple of war chunks on the field. Started to add some Yumi, which in small quantities will be vastly inferior to the longbows. But once you can build up their numbers, they can easily just swarm and outnumber. And it looks like we are going to have the players moving out for first time on the water here. Kind of equal-ish fleets between the two.
Okay, here we go. A little bit of a battle out there on the sea. And a little positioning, but not taking a major engagement here. Fire some shots. No more spin to win these days. Okay, VortiX chasing. Horseman gonna run in. He's gonna try to pick up some longbows, and he can idle these villagers. So I really do like this horseman move from him. He's even gonna go for that spearman because he just doesn't want the spearman numbers to grow. So it's not the best engagement, but he's okay with that.
It's still good.
Yep.
Intercepting that spearman now makes it really valuable. That spearman would have been a lot more dangerous if it's actually linked up with the rest of the forces. MarineLorD is forfeiting the water a little here, or at least he's going to be the defender in these naval engagements for the time being, because he wants to have that land-based aggression going for him, and so far he has done really well with these horsemen.
Okay, MarineLorD's got a considerable number of ships out here. Also some demos behind it as well.
Naval fight is looking decent for VortiX though. He's got 5 war junks, a single galley that's held back just to snipe demo ships with. But the game plan here for VortiX is that early on, going for a lot of demos is difficult for MarineLorD to afford. So it's enough to have 1 or 2 galleys to snipe down those demos, and then he's just going to use war junks for the rest of his fleet.
Yep, you can see, taking shots and then moving back. MarineLorD's going to be just positioning his boats. And we got horsemen on the land, so we got a little bit of a 2-pronged attack going on here that these players have to jump back and forth between, which is always how Holy Island always works out. And MarineLorD looking like he's going to go for a little push here. I want to know how these sails stay full as they like 360 rotate a boat. Like, I don't know if you guys been on a sailboat before. It's not how it works.
Well, they're cruising at max speed in all of these directions.
Yeah.
Speaking of cruising at max speed, here comes MarineLorD with the Yumi. Detaching them from the horsemen, though, might have been a bit of a misstep here. Took a lot of damage, but looks like he's just trying to snipe the spearmen before the horsemen will engage.
Yeah, horseman was fighting in spears, it looked like back there, but it looked like he was okay to take that. Maybe he was jumping back to water. The longbows picking off those Yumi pretty easily. Okay, on water. Battle rage is on. MarineLorD trying to push VortiX back, but VortiX just continuing to push on water. I think on land, VortiX may have the advantage here. Now he's got a considerable number of longbows and some spears to defend them.
Yeah, VortiX does have a respectable army, and with MarineLorD losing all these Yumi, Now it's difficult to deal with the spears. He wasn't really able to swarm the longbows. And I think VortiX is just cruising on both fronts now. He has a land-based advantage, but also he's the aggressor on water, which means that his own fishing eco is completely untouched.
And there you see it, trying to take down that tower, but all the Yumi just getting destroyed. So he can just leave a few spears here. Oh, he didn't kill the tower, so look at that. The horseman jumped inside. And on water.
Beautiful demo.
Yeah, VortiX pushing up. MarineLorD, of course, going to be reinforcing from those docks nearby. You got to be very careful playing close to the dock because demos can come out. He's also got the heated shot. You can see from the dock, taking some shots to those boats. VortiX taking a lot of casualties. You can see a lot of ships sinking right now. I think MarineLorD was able to hold that, but VortiX was able to idle on land, but those longbows kind of walk themselves in the corner. They're putting down their palings to try to stop the horsemen, and doing an okay-ish job, all things considered, but those longbows are going to be donezo. So VortiX retreating on sea. Looks like maybe he's coming back for another attack on land. MarineLorD will hold for now.
Yeah, great hold by MarineLorD. His fleet is actually half the size of VortiX, though. So I think this was a little deceiving because VortiX didn't show everything that he had. But now, on land, MarineLorD seems to have a bit of an advantage over here. Let's see how he can hold the water, though. He is going to need a lot of demos to deal with this. He's tried flanking around and hitting the hulks from behind with his own demos. He's going to need more of that, though, because now his fishing eco is being threatened.
Yep, there you have it, and that's going to be pretty massive. He's got a demo up there, trying to do a flank. Didn't get close enough, though. Here comes another demo. VortiX has been really on top of his micro here on the water. VortiX bringing the demo down front. Gets picked off. Both players picking off the demos. No demos making contact. VortiX cornering all of MarineLorD's fishing ships, all of his boats. Did a good job just shutting down the economy. Looks like those fishing ships are now gathering from the shore.
Yeah, that's definitely a lot of lost efficiency there for MarineLorD, but it's not like he has a choice. He has an easier time reinforcing here, being closer to his docks, as he was looking for some lumberjacks to the south of VortiX's DC, but VortiX is taking that forest in front of his base, so MarineLorD was not given any opportunities to wait. He's yet to kill a villager in this game.
Well, look at how many demo ships MarineLorD has. He's really, he's planning on doing something big here.
It's not like he's got a lot of war junks, though.
Yeah, okay, MarineLorD moving around on sea here, or on land rather, with the horsemen. Demo's kind of pushing VortiX back. Yeah, I don't see a lot of arrow ships out there. Yeah, there we go. He's trying to take him out. Okay, he has tons of arrow ships. They just look the same. I'm not sure if any of those demos made contact. Maybe one?
Yeah, demos are just very difficult to hit at the highest level, especially when you have two exceptional micro players like these two. Speaking of which, demos once again getting sniped out. There is a bit of a connection, but not much. What's more important, though, is that VortiX is now pushing into the enemy eco, and I'm just now noticing the gold mine spawn here for MarineLorD. All of its gold is stacked on top of one another. So this bush in here pushes MarineLorD away from all gold. He actually has to shift all the way to the shoreline to have some safe, accessible gold.
And Vodka pointing out that MarineLorD could age up if he wanted to, but...
He probably wants to.
Yeah. It looks like his, oh man, pushed off of gold. The English army wrapping around right now.
Tower is going to complete. I think Castle Age can be a saving grace here for MarineLorD. That would give him a lot of firepower on land. Something that he really needs, because on water he's not winning decisively, and on land he's getting absolutely annihilated right now.
Yeah, it certainly looks like VortiX has decisive control of this game at the moment.
He's missing 6 gold. I'm just now noticing, sorry to interrupt. 6 gold was missing from MarineLorD to age up, and as what is pointing out, yeah, he went for the arrow slits, but that meant that he didn't have the gold to age up.
Yeah, he just canceled it. There we go. Good call. Okay, so I feel like it's inevitable that VortiX is going to win C. And with that, he wins this round, gets points on the board, and Lidakor, you know what this means? We're going to your favorite map.
We are going to close this set on bridges. VortiX, only the second player in this tournament to take away a game from MarineLorD. MarineLorD so far only has lost a single game in the previous rounds. Now he's going to lose the second one to VortiX. And really, we touched on this at the beginning of this game. Hybrid maps oftentimes are very momentum-based. And as a consequence, when VortiX was able to start pressuring the gold mine from MarineLorD, things started to fall apart for MarineLorD. He just got outnumbered on the ship department, and for the majority of this game, he would just ended up being the defender. He was forced into being the defender almost.
Apparently 650,000 EGC points were lost predicting on on MarineLorD that last game. You know, guys, make sure you gamble responsibly. We got a hotline for that you can call. So be careful because you never know what could happen. I'd be very interested to ask MarineLorD what he thought about the fish spawn up there, but you know, I guess that's RNG for you. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. Let's go to game number 3, and we've got a new map I have not casted on before. Bridges. We said it's our favorite map, but I don't really know how good this map is. We'll figure it out here. But we got MarineLorD going to be playing as the Ottomans. The Ottomans weren't banned here. Crazy, very good civilization. VortiX playing his Delhi Salt. This will be a photo finish for today's series. Who's going to win this? Will it be MarineLorD or will it be VortiX? Let's make sure you predict responsibly. Right now, through about 400,000 points on MarineLorD, 53,000 on VortiX. So, you know, if you're gambling, you got to decide what you want to do here.
So here's the thing. Ottomans are regarded as one of the best, if not the best civilizations in the game right now. That's why 9 out of 10 times they are banned. VortiX opted not to ban Ottomans against Demu. He ended up losing against Demu's Ottomans in Dry Arabia. He opted not to ban the Ottomans over here either, but the difference is that this is a fundamentally different map from Dry Arabia. So it's going to be interesting to see how Ottomans will be played. But it looks like VortiX doesn't regard Ottomans as high as some other players do, and he opts to consistently avoid banning it. It's going to be interesting to see if this backfires or not, because Delhi versus the Ottomans, it's a matchup that can go either way, but it's also not really that beloved matchup that you would be looking for with the Delhi Sultanate.
I'm a believer in the Ottomans here, and I guess a believer in MarineLorD in this case. The Ottomans, I've faced enough of these bad boys. I'm afraid of them. I'm terrified. And but VortiX, he has a deadly Delhi Sultanate, but we'll see who wins this match point. Tied up as we go into game number 3 of MarineLorD versus VortiX. A lot on the line here for this series, and it's a newish map. We've got bridges. MarineLorD playing the Ottomans versus VortiX's Delhi Sultanate.
Now, you have a lot of things to look at when it comes to this map. If Vodka shows up the whole map, we can actually talk about that for a second. First things first, these bridges are actually destructible. So, technically, and honestly, I'm waiting for one of those highlight moments where someone crosses with an army and it just gets absolutely annihilated by the bridge being destroyed. The map also features 3 sacred sites, but 2 of those are in these more isolated islands, and it's something that the Delhi will be more than happy playing around. The map is a little asymmetrical, so you can see that the top and the bottom are not identical. Top features some extra hunt as well as a neutral market, whereas the southernmost part just has that little island with the relic and the sacred site. Slightly different spawn for the 2 players. MarineLorD has both of his wood lines on the back, whereas VortiX has it split between the front and the back. But neither of these players have any safe gold that they can work with. All of those gold deposits are wide open.
Looking at the picture from the lobby, I really thought both players were going to spawn like on the other side of a little river on an island, but this is very interesting. I feel like it could be in Delhi's interest to take the sacred sites and destroy the bridges or something like that. Try to hold them down, but like you mentioned, it'd be really exciting to see. Watch there be no action on those bridges here this game. We'll see. We'll see. MarineLorD opened up with the military school right away. He's going to be looking to come out and raid the deli. Of course, deli can pop the scholar out and out heal it in many cases, but does look like he's going to the bottom right side, so taking a bit of a gamble of where he decided to. Oh, that's the scout. So he's trying to see, okay, where should I send my villager? Picking up some, where to send the spearman? Picking up some sheep here as he wraps around the back of the base.
It's a spearman opening here with a military school, so there will be a little pressure put on VortiX. Now, what that means is that the initial Gauzy Raiders, if we have any from VortiX, will not really be able to have as much liberty as they usually do when it comes to harassing. At the same time, it might actually make VortiX just pivot away from a Gauzy Raider opening, and we could see him potentially going straight into archers over here, him going for the Tower of Victory.
Spearman moving up on the north side, heading towards the gold. Let's see what he's able to do. Villager's going to be in a little bit of danger, but shouldn't be too bad. There we go, get that stab on. And the villager's not reacting. He's just trying to get that last bit of gold, but yeah, he's trying to stick that out. Because he really wants to get enough gold there. Here comes that scholar, do the healing as we predicted.
Yep, it's really not much. I want to highlight how VortiX is trying to pull MarineLorD into the DC fire here, so he was constantly pulling those villagers a little closer to the DC as this spearman decided to do some pokes without the actual spear. But yeah, MarineLorD isn't falling for this. He's just going to push away the villagers from the gold. Still reasonable value when you consider that VortiX, he's going to be on 2 scholars for the time being. And we've actually seen that earlier today, that when you work with the Tower of Victory, you have a finite amount of scholars, so you have to be extremely cautious not to lose them to enemy cavalry in early feudal. Once you have the sacred sites, you're good because you can replenish them. But before having the sacred sites, those 2 scholars are immensely valuable.
Okay, so pushed off of gold. We see he's now in the second age. And you talk about military pressure out on the map. The Ottomans are quite good at that, and he already has 1 military school down. So here in transition, could be looking to get a second one very, very soon. Let's see what VortiX opens up as far as his military goes. Now, what is this? Okay, MarineLorD's going for his stones. That's going to be for a military school, most likely going to be getting another one down. And the spearman continued just to idle the Delhi Sultanate off of gold, and MarineLorD immediately getting wheelbarrow here as he hits the second age.
Yeah, Sipahi, as expected here for MarineLorD, and VortiX indeed did open with archers. I started second-guessing myself after making that statement because Sipahi is kind of expected from the Ottomans. So opening direct archers is somewhat suicidal. But it looks like VortiX went for that. So I do expect him to start mixing in some spears initially. But eventually, this should be a 1-1-1 composition from all of these players. The Delhi player, though, I feel like you need to be aggressive at the beginning. Because if MarineLorD gets those military schools going, it's going to be awfully difficult to keep up with that Ottoman production.
And we got a few spearmen out on the map. 3 spearmen right now. Spahi in queue, and we do see right now VortiX is building his barracks, so we'll be seeing some units out, and he's got his archer range behind that as well. Scouts moving out across the map, and he's going to be looking to build his second military school very soon. Got 80 stone in the bank right now from MarineLorD. And now we got a stable, so MarineLorD's going to have a 1-1-1 composition, barracks stable and an archery range. And this will be definitely a battle of the feudal age coming right up. There's that military school. He's got his blacksmith speeding that bad boy up. And there's going to be a lot of units coming out as they fight over the sacred sites. I wonder if he'll go for the middle one or if he'll just aim for those top and bottom sacred sites. It could end up in something fun happening around those bridges. He could even go for like the far bridge, right? He could destroy the far bridge, so it's harder for his opponent to get to the island, but he can get there or something. I don't know. Could do something crazy.
Yeah, it's definitely something that he could consider doing. Right now, I feel like the concern that that VortiX is having is that he's going to do the exact same thing as his opponent, but Ottomans will get a bunch of units for free. Sure enough, your archers will be buffed with the Tower of Victory, but that can be offset by the matter. So unless you're able to consistently snipe that matter, the Ottomans will be able to match up with the quality of your troops, but you won't really be able to match up with the quantity of those Ottoman troops playing as the Delhi.
Yeah, and we do see those blacksmith upgrades, those free Delhi techs coming in as VortiX starts capping his first sacred site in the middle, and that's a beacon. MarineLorD's going to be bringing all his military over there very soon.
Yeah, in order for VortiX to be able to match the production of the Ottomans, he needs the sacred sites consistently capped. So one thing that I would love to see from him is walling the sacred sites. He needs to make sure that those cannot be just taken away from him too easily. And he needs to ensure that MarineLorD has to fight tooth and nail for all of these sacred sites.
Bottom sacred site starting to be capped right now. Uh-oh. Scout getting caught up right now by the horsemen, but he knows where they are, knows that they're kind of heading toward his scholar there in the bottom. Going to take this engagement. Scout microed away to stay alive for another day. Spearman archers coming close, so he's going to be able to meet these. I kind of thought MarineLorD might just run past these down to the scholar, which is what is he doing right now?
Yeah, this was a very easy side capture over here for VortiX. Sure enough, he's going to lose that one scholar, but actually, he's got some spears accompanying this. And this is where you want to use that ability from the Delhi to build fortifications with your military troops. You want to wall off these crossings and make sure that MarineLorD cannot just ghost to decap these. I gotta say, the start was pretty good from VortiX. He's leveraging the fact that military schools are a little slow to kick in at the beginning. Eventually, our Ottomans become overwhelming with their production, but this initial stage of feudal age is where Delhi probably has the most momentum.
How much HP do those the bridges have? Do you just do torch damage against them, I'm assuming? Like
I think it's 500. It does have 5
HP.
fire armor, so I don't think torching them down is legit. I think this is more of a once in a millennia we could see a demo ship sinking one of those.
Yeah, okay. Okay, here we go. We've got the Mets are out here providing a buff for the Ottoman army. Delhi Sultan going to be taking it, gets a nice surround on Spahi. Down he goes. I think a scout died in that front line there, so not a huge loss as far as the Delhi troops are concerned. VortiX able to secure 2 sacred sites so far. That's going to be helping him with his gold income as you see the army floating across the map. I'm starting to like the Delhi momentum here.
I like how VortiX is going into Ghazi Raiders. He needs to have a unit that can keep track of those Sipahi, because one thing that MarineLorD is going to do, as you see at the bottom of the minimap, he's going to try to consistently decap these sacred sites, and that's something that VortiX is going to require mobility to prevent. I still don't like the fact that none of these sacred sites are walled, but it looks like VortiX doesn't care. He actually wants to dive, and this could be dangerous for MarineLorD, because MarineLorD doesn't have his whole army back at home. He's actually sending in these troops to raid. He might find a lot of villagers on the berries on the right side. This is a bit of a gamble on both sides. Either of these players could get punished in the eco for this.
Vahi coming in for a big raid. Look at that. 1 villager going down, 2 villagers going down. We've got VortiX moving down the other side on a house, but that's just a house. We see a lot of villagers. 1, 2, 3, 4 villagers going down. This is a huge raid for MarineLorD. Oh man, he lost 7 villagers. Oh man. Okay, VortiX going to be pushing in here underneath the town center. Not a great spot to be. We do see actually there's the scholars in there. The imams dishing out some healing, and VortiX pushes under the base. Oh my gosh, MarineLorD's gonna get more villagers underneath the main town center. I don't know if VortiX is paying attention. He's busy microing his troops. And now VortiX picking off some of MarineLorD's wood line. This is really scrappy, but VortiX has lost.
Oh, VortiX is not reacting.
Villagers.
Oh, VortiX is not reacting with his wills. He's getting slaughtered on his own wood line.
I know. Oh man, 12 villagers go down, 13 villagers.
He must have thought that MarineLorD is going to flee when he garrisons the DC, but boy oh boy did he not. And I kind of started this discussion saying that this is going to be a gamble on both sides, and this gamble paid off a lot better for MarineLorD. VortiX was super aggro as well, but difference is that MarineLorD, he had the Sipahi to chase the villagers with. VortiX had to chase them with archers, and he just wasn't able to catch enough. Now it's a 10 villager difference. Sure enough, VortiX still has a sacred site, but MarineLorD does have the military schools, and this is looking awfully powerful now for MarineLorD. Finally, walls come up on the south. Feels like a little too late, to be honest.
MarineLorD did a giant ring around the rose. He had like 20 villagers just running away from the army, and I don't think he lost any of them. Yet he forgot to pull. There were 5 villagers on the berries, and they got killed. That's the only 5 villas that died there. It was just a tiny mistake, but largely kept his villas alive. Look at the army count. VortiX sitting on 37 versus 29, so he's still got a sizable army, but a little spread out right now. And now MarineLorD probably feeling very good. Having killed 14 villagers, he can sit back a little bit now, wait for that eco difference to really start to be impactful. Although 2 sacred sites, that makes up for a little bit of those losses. Maybe you should look to grab the northern sacred site as well.
Archer's now moving in though, then this is a nice find. He needs to kill villagers now, and he knows that. I think we're going to see VortiX playing extremely aggressive, potentially all-in style at this point, because he knows how much damage he has taken.
MarineLorD chasing those archers, wrapping around. He doesn't have any spearmen nearby to really protect. Picking off a few spearmen as he retreats. But here comes the rest of the Ottoman army. I don't know if VortiX has enough to take his engagement. He just might with these Ghazi. He pushes forward. He's been able to keep the Ottoman spearman count rather low, all things considered. But just seems like MarineLorD just keeps holding on and pushing them back again and again. He did pick off a few more villagers if you look at the villager count, actually.
Yeah, villager counts kind of even-ish. 2 sacred sites actually make up for that. But again, it's the Ottomans' free unit production. Frankly, what VortiX needs to do to make this happen is a constant trade of armies. In a constant trade of armies, you will actually see the weakness of the slow military school production a lot more. So I feel like this is one of those matchups where VortiX just needs to keep sending wave after wave after wave, and even if it's not the best trade ever, he just needs to trade. Otherwise, I just feel like eventually those military schools will get enough units out to completely finish him off.
We see right now VortiX grabbing that northern sacred site as they run across the bridge. Gotta be careful there's not a demo ship lurking out there. And look at that, we've got Janissaries in the feudal age. MarineLorD going to be redeeming that with his vizier points. But VortiX might have enough horsemen up here to take this fight, not to mention his scholars can dish out some healing. On the south side, he's working on walling that up. 1 spearman down there. Here comes the full Ottoman army across the bridge to the north.
This could be a perfect surround. This is the only way out for MarineLorD, and I think VortiX could just head in from this southern portion of the bridge with his army and completely wrap this army. This might be dangerous for MarineLorD.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing, but doesn't want to fight this mixed army like this, and not to mention, now he got all these Janissaries. They're going to be absolutely destroying any horsemen that run in here.
He's going for the eco. Remember, VortiX knows the big eco difference or the big villager difference between the two. He's looking for opportunities. In fact, I think the only reason why he captured that sacred site to the north was to bait MarineLorD out and try to hit the eco while MarineLorD is sending his forces there.
Yeah, we'll see. It looks like he might be pulling back. I mean, his last eco dive wasn't the best. It looks like he's being a little hesitant, maybe just going to guard that second run. Maybe he's really looking to take on the main army. I mean, I don't know. Army count, they're about even numbers, and MarineLorD's got more buff for his army. I'm not sure this would go very well if he were to take this fight. And not to mention, MarineLorD's whole army is grouped up. VortiX has his army a little bit split right now. Looks like he's going for a raid right now on the western side. Yep.
He split off the Ghazi Raiders, but... Oh, there's an opening. That must be an opening. Oh my lord, these Ghazi Raiders needed just that, and that is beautiful. At least if you're a
Huge
VortiX
raid.
fan.
Oh my gosh.
That is exactly what VortiX needed in this game. He took a gamble detaching the cap from his army, but now it's kind of paying off. A lot of damage done to eco. MarineLorD is the one that's going to dive super aggressively now. We've seen this before. This time around, it's going to be MarineLorD going all the way into the enemy base.
He wants to pick off those Janissaries if he can with those archers, but VortiX can't stop this army, and that's going to be the problem. He knows that he doesn't have a good portion of his cav there because they're back at home raiding, and VortiX, he needs to figure out how he's going to stop this as MarineLorD is pushing forward. But man, he's been able to raid himself back into being even on villagers. He's still down a little bit, but a lot of idle time right now. Looks like the Ottoman army is going to back off. I think MarineLorD is maybe a little hesitant to overcommit, but no, he's hunting for villagers on the southeast side of VortiX's base. That's what's going on right now. Yeah, he's checking the berries out. The villagers just moved off. Man, oh man, these guys are just splitting armies, raiding while having a main army on the other side. We got the sacred sites going on here. Wow, it's been a very close one so far.
It's an insane game here. The fact that VortiX was able to get himself back on track in terms of villager count is absolutely monstrous. And now, as you said, MarineLorD didn't commit, which means that now we're looking at an even population game. Both sides took a lot of villager casualties, but don't forget, the Delhi player has the sacred sites, the Ottoman player has the military schools. When the dust settles, I feel like this game is neck and neck.
Yeah, I mean, considering that massive first raid MarineLorD had, VortiX has done amazingly to raid back to being close in this game. No matter where this ends up going, has definitely been putting up a huge effort. So I still think it's going to come down, though, to some more military positioning in the next few engagements that could determine. Now, on the north side, VortiX is making a wall. Is that with the villagers? I think those are all villagers. They could be trapped up there. He's a little nervous. He's going for those deers. Yeah, so if the Ottoman army were to corner them, could be troublesome. But look at all these archers. There's, of course, the Tower of Victory going on. Though the Ghazi going to get shredded, most likely, by this Janissary. Well, I don't know how well this engagement is going to go. He's trying to pick off the Janissaries and the archers. Okay, but it looks like MarineLorD is just eating up this Delhi army. And that's going to be match point. MarineLorD, the victory with the Ottomans hitting a huge early raid and was able to finish up the rest of this. That's going to take him to win this group stage here today of this matchup up against VortiX.
We went into this game saying that this is not a good matchup for the Delhi. And part of this was somewhat self-inflicted by VortiX. Most players in this tournament ban Ottomans. He has allowed Ottomans to be played both by MarineLorD and Demu earlier today, and he lost both of these games. Frankly, I think this is going to give him a lot of information. He is still very much in a playoff position, and as he heads into the playoffs, I think he might need to reevaluate his approach to playing against the Ottomans and maybe his drafting strategy, because one thing that we've seen today is that he definitely had his issues facing off against the Ottomans. He probably wouldn't be alone, but he allowed his opponents to use Ottomans, and it didn't really work out for him, so he's going to end up losing this set to MarineLorD. Whereas for MarineLorD, he dropped another game that makes it 2 in total now, but he is still in a commanding position in Group A.
I just saw 2.2 million EGC points were rewarded that game. A lot riding on that for all you gamblers out there, but absolutely a close series down here to the end. And that was the most unique map set I think we saw today: Coastal, Cliffs, Holy Island, and Bridges. I don't think we saw any of those maps in any of the other games that we got to cast today. So very fun to see the variety that was provided there.